Okay, so this is an update for my workflow. So I think I've said this before. I start out with the instruments. So you'll see I actually label down here. You see I label each one: the piano, the bass, the guitar, and then I'll usually leave one where it says lead. Somebody asked me why. Well, because most songs are composed of four basic elements, that is a piano, bass, guitar, and drums. And then sometimes it'll be a lead over it. So if you use synth, put that as your lead or whatever you use. It doesn't matter. Just make whatever instruments you need. For me, I play bass and guitar live into here, so it changes for what I need it for. If I need MIDI, which I primarily use for like a synth or a piano, then I'll use the Atom 2. You can use Helium. And then, of course, my favorite is tonality. I think I speak of that enough. And I'll continue to because it's an amazing tool especially if you don't have a piano. I made a lot of songs without an actual piano. Just anyway, we'll talk about that another time. So you'll notice all of them run out. When I say out, the bottom is out. Okay, sends it out to somewhere. The top is in. Anything in between is an effect or a recorder. Pretty much what it is. Or it can be a bus that picks up from something else, right? I'll show you that when we get to the koala portion. So you notice it goes out. So here's A coming in, and there's koala. I changed up. I used to put the drums on here all together. Now I made it, you can see down here, the main. So one is the main when it comes to what goes into koala. And then this is what I changed. I started putting the kicks on one by themselves, the snares on one by themselves, and the hats. So I don't have anything, let me see here. I don't have anything loaded in right now at this moment. I'm going to try to lengthen this up. But let's just load up something in here. Let's see. Drums. I'm looking for some drums primarily. Let's just put this one that says my drums. Okay, so these are my basic drums that I would use. And you can see here I have the two kicks. I always do two snares. I got four hi-hats. That's just to give it some variation. Little rim shot, little shaker, little tambourine. So most of this I generally would put on the one, but now I've changed it to focus more because we have the ability, if you look right here, to do channels. We have up to 8 channels. That means I can mix my drums separate outside of the way I would typically have done it. So usually I'll put the kicks on 2. The snares are going to be on 3. All hi-hats go on to 4. And that includes any open hi-hat too that I may have. I think that's my open right there. So on 4, crash. Now, I may add this. I haven't done so yet. I'm thinking about it. The crash and the toms. This is a rim shot. So the rim's going to go on 3, right, with the snares. The shaker, I'm probably going to put the shaker on the same one as the hats. So I'll put that on number 4. Actually, I'm going to put the tambourine on 4 if I use them in a song, right? And then I'm thinking about making a separate one for the toms and maybe the crash. Haven't got there yet, but this is the point. You set all this up and then make sure you hit save. One thing I found that doesn't work very well is you get into AUM and you think, well, if I just hit save up here, it'll save it. And if you don't save in Koala itself, then it will definitely not be there the next time you come. It'll lose everything. So make sure you save in Koala. Somebody brought that up today, and I just thought I would share that with them. So you'll see I'm using this. This is free, by the way. Rough Rider 3 Audio Damage, really great app developer. Grab it. It's free because it's kind of a hot thing, to have. There's an external side chain in here, which is really cool. So you can put this on the drums, and for a better mix, is what I'm going to call it. If you have a bass, like here's my bass right here, the bass channel, you can, let me show you how to do this. Actually, I'm going to take it off and then put it back on. You hit the plus, hit multi audio unit instance, and anything that can have multi out will be on here. So pick the Rough Rider. And now what it'll do is it'll tell the bass whenever, I don't have a bass in here because I didn't play anything yet, but whenever the bass and the drums are playing, the kick will basically choke out will happen. I'm saying that all wrong. Sorry about that. But the bass will basically come through, and the kick will come through and the bass will duck, is what it is. So you've heard people say it. I'll be honest, I never used it before, but I think it's a good thing for the mix, and I'm going to start using it. So why not? It's a feature you could do. Another thing I added in is I was looking at some hi-hats to make them better. And you don't have to do this, but Pan Station 2, another Audio Damage, they're pretty good. First of all, I love it, but I added to the hi-hats because it's something about panning the hi-hats when they're in sync and they're auto pan back and forth that gives the ear this impression that the drums are spaced out. I don't even know what it is. I can't explain it 100%, but it works. And I don't like, especially if you're using Koala, because even though Koala has, if you go into, let's go into this track here, you can see the velocities, you can change them. I don't like manually changing velocities. I wish they would put, that's one thing I do wish they would add, is just where if I hit the pad either across or up or down, it would change the velocities, kind of like Beatmaker 3 and some of these other ones that do it. That's just my personal preference. I don't want to go in there and manually change a velocity. So this kind of takes that away where I don't have to do it so much and really spaces out the drums. I love it. Okay, so here's your snare. Here's the hats. You'll see I have one for the keys on number 5. I have one for the bass. And then I made this. This is new too that I've added. So I'm going to name it while we're here. It's going to be called Drum Effects. And the reason why is because I want to use less DSP. So let's just do that. I want to use less DSP. And one way I can do that is instead of putting this FAC Transit on for the punch on drums, which I use all the time. This is a great app too. If you haven't got it, get it. I put that on every drum I do. And so it's kind of nice not to have 3 different ones if you go ahead. And so what I did was all you have to do is touch bus in. And because I have it, you can see up here going through D in, right? And then out to B. All the drums will have that, whatever's in that chain will run through. So I have it on the kick, the snare, and the hats, right? And then this is new to me, and this thing will crash. I mean, I already sent a report in, it crashes, okay? If you use more than one, it will crash. But I like it because it's like a room, it's like a reverb for the drum. They don't want to call it reverb, whatever. It's like a room reverb for the track, for the drums. And you could use it for other stuff too, but that's the only thing I really use it for. And so it's kind of cool. So let's just see. Let's just play this little rhythm that's in here. Oh, I have the metronome on. I'm going to turn this down a little bit, just there. So now you can mix the drums. You won't be able to hear the side chain that much because realistically, it's not supposed to be super noticeable, but it's there. And I don't have a bass going anyway, so there's nothing to duck, right? But if you can hear the hats, then you'll hear them moving back and forth. Again, it's one of those hidden things that you can't really see, but if you really listen closely, you can hear it for sure. And then I have that going. I'm gonna stop this now, so I don't have to talk so loud. You have the drum effects going back out to the main, so that way. And I guess in theory, you could just change here and send it all to there, and not have to put the D there, the D um, bus send. So I don't know why I did that, but I just did it. So if you don't want to do that, just send it to this one bus, but just send all the drums without, you don't have to add this if you don't want to. Just put it down here, but you will have to send it to D to make it work. But let's say you didn't want one to go, but you do want one. So maybe you don't want the hi-hats, but you do want the kick, or you don't want the snare. You could have it this way. You could have it still going to bus B right out, but it wouldn't affect anything. So let's do that. Let's just, oh, I keep hitting the record by mistake. So, but that punch on drums is pretty effective use of an app. I think I bought it just for that, literally, and it's great for what it does. Um, and then this is still the same be out channel, and then I have a final record channel. So if I decide I use Four Pockets Neon Recorder, which is amazing app. If you haven't got it, get it. I mean, it does slice editing, everything, and I'm not gonna sit here and explain it. Paul does an excellent job. If you go, I think it's Paul the Music Man, who is the creator of the Four Pocket stuff. I believe that's who he is. Check his stuff out. Fantastic stuff for sure. And this last channel is just me where I'm talking. So anyway,